Roman Reigns' demise. AJ Styles' retirement speech was not fake. Why Cody Rhodes is not heel yet. A WWE Hall of Famer's son has passed away. Michael Cole is frustrated with Uncle Howdy's QR codes. WWE warns Raw to be on high alert this Monday. Tiffany Stratton is troubled after arriving in Scotland for Clash at the Castle 2024. A huge update on The Rock's recent injury. Jey Uso's message courtesy of a recent post. A former champion vows to end the bloodline. Let's dive right in. AJ Styles' retirement speech was not fake. AJ Styles recently made it seem like he was about to retire in WWE, but swerved to attack Cody Rhodes instead. However, a Hall of Famer talked about how the segment was not fake, but just a worked storyline. The Phenomenal One is currently engaged in a feud with the American Nightmare, which is heading to the two facing each other at Clash at the Castle in an I Quit match. Their segment on SmackDown, where AJ pretended to retire, fooled much of the audience into believing that it was legitimate. While it turned out to be a ruse for an attack, WWE Hall of Famer Teddy Long does not think it could be called a fake retirement. Speaking on Sportskeeda's The Wrestling Time Machine, hosted by Mac Davis, Teddy Long stated, "Let's not use the word fake. I hate that. Whatever they do, it's all a work from beginning to end. Now sometimes things get real, but that just happens. You know what I mean? But everything is basically a work. So what AJ did, that was absolutely fantastic. I liked it, and it fooled everybody. That's the main thing. That thing got over, and it fooled people." Sam Roberts believes that although AJ Styles' retirement was simply an angle, he may actually hang up his boots sooner rather than later. Speaking on the Not Some Wrestling podcast, Sam Roberts stated that AJ's match with Cody at WWE Clash at the Castle could set up the former's actual retirement. What you could do is have AJ Styles lose, and he says, "I quit." And he gets up and shakes Cody's hand. He gets on SmackDown the following Friday, and he says, "Guys, I did everything that I could to get one more chance before I have to call it quits. I really do. I wasn't lying in anything that I said in the Blue Jacket promo that I gave," Roberts said. As of now, only time will tell what AJ Styles plans to do next. Why Cody Rhodes is not heel yet. While Cody Rhodes is one of WWE's most beloved babyfaces at the moment, a veteran thought he was about to turn heel on a recent show. However, according to the veteran in question, Bill Apter, the turn did not happen because of a business-centric point. Cody Rhodes and AJ Styles were recently on SmackDown, where the latter came out and announced that he was going to retire. This calmed things down between the two stars, who were previously in a feud. However, it all turned out to be a work when AJ attacked the American Nightmare out of nowhere. Speaking on Sportskeeda's The Wrestling Time Machine hosted by Mac Davis, Bill Apter said that he was expecting Cody to turn heel and attack the Phenomenal One instead. Then when Cody started walking him around the ring and holding up the arms, I thought Cody was going to clothesline AJ Styles. I thought it was going to be the other way around. Everybody would be shocked. But then I realized afterwards, the merchandise money would go right down the toilet. They would start hating Cody immediately. Cody Rhodes' talent is undeniable to many, which includes the WWE legend Shawn Michaels. Speaking in a recent interview with The Schmo, Shawn Michaels named Cody as one of his dream opponents if he was back in his prime. I look at guys that I see now, a guy like Seth Rollins I think I could get in there with and do fantastic stuff. Cody is another one. Logan Paul. He is somebody that is incredibly talented. There are a number of guys that I look at, and I think to myself, if you were 20 years younger, wouldn't it be really cool? I'm very happy with what I'm doing. The future of WWE is in great hands where it's going. I like my place behind the scenes now. We're part of a generation that never says goodbye, but I have no problem saying goodbye and looking towards the future, Michael said. The American Nightmare is set to defend his undisputed WWE Championship against AJ Styles in an I Quit match at Clash at the Castle this Saturday. It will be interesting to see who will come out victorious. A WWE Hall of Famer's son has passed away. A WWE Hall of Famer recently took to social media to reveal that his son had passed away unexpectedly. The said person is Ricky Morton, who made the news public on Facebook. As expected, this led to an outpouring of grief. Morton is one of the most respected veterans in wrestling history. His tag team with Robert Gibson, called the Rock and Roll Express, is considered among the greatest tag teams of all time. They performed all across the globe, including WWE. Ricky Morton's update that his eldest son, Jonathan Morton, had breathed his last a few days back, left the wrestling world devastated. Many fans and even veterans of the business took to the comments section to share their condolences for the WWE legend. Morton remembered his son as someone who was a devoted family man and noted that he was also a country singer. Ricky Morton also shared a couple of pictures too with his son, one of them from his childhood. I want to acknowledge that in the recent week or so, I may have seemed distant. Please understand, it was never out of lack of love, but rather the immense pride and admiration I felt for him. Sometimes words fall short of expressing the depth of a father's love. A father should never have to go through the experience of losing a child. It is an unimaginable pain that goes against the natural order of life. I have experienced something no father should ever have to experience. I lost a huge part of me. It is with the heaviest heart that I share the passing of my oldest son, Jonathan Morton. The WWE veteran added, "My firstborn. Jonathan was a beacon of talent and love. He excelled in so many things. He loved showcasing his incredible athletic abilities and dedication. Jonathan also touched many lives with his music, writing a few huge country songs that resonated deeply with so many. Jonathan was a huge family man, always putting loved ones first, and he was the light of my life, along with all my children. Rest in peace, my beloved son. Your legacy will live on in our hearts forever. Please respect my family's privacy. I love you all. Huge, your loved ones." Ricky Morton shared. Michael Cole is frustrated with Unlce Howdy's QR codes. The latest Uncle Howdy QR code on a WWE show didn't leave Michael Cole impressed, as he expressed his annoyance with the situation. The veteran commentator broke character for a moment to express what he felt. When the LWO were making their way to the ring, the QR code that has become a part of Uncle Howdy's regular hints over the last few months showed up. Ever since the QR code started to show up, it has felt like Uncle Howdy may return, with speculation that he will be bringing the rumored Wyatt Six faction with him. This week, the QR code led to a countdown that ends at the upcoming episode of WWE Raw, which seems to indicate the debut will finally take place next week. However, it seems that Michael Cole has had enough. When LWO were entering and the QR code showed up, he didn't hesitate for a second before breaking character to say, "Not that QR code stuff again," clearly unhappy with what was happening. He then even told Pat McAfee not to scan it, because the last time he had, he'd become obsessed with it. With Uncle Howdy potentially appearing as soon as the upcoming Raw, fans will be keeping an eye on Michael Cole's reaction. Ever since Triple H has taken over WWE from Vince McMahon, Cole has been more expressive and original in his commentary. Working together with Pat McAfee, the star has been laughing more and seemingly enjoys his job a lot more than before. Previously, it's been noted that Vince McMahon was always in the commentators' ears, telling them what to say and what not to say, making for quite a strenuous job. Presumably, that's changed since the game took charge of things. WWE warns Raw to be on high alert this Monday. Raw General Manager Adam Pearce has reacted to a notice by WWE. The company has issued a statement saying that Raw has to be on high alert. On this week's episode of Raw, Braun Breaker decided to take things into his own hands, attacking people backstage. As if that was not enough, when Ricochet tried to stop him, Breaker destroyed him and even put him through the windscreen of a car after already having lawn darted him into the side of a trailer. Ricochet had to be taken to the hospital, with him being written off. In reality, Ricochet is expected to have been written off WWE TV, thanks to him telling the company that he plans to leave when his current contract expires. The company announced that he had suffered upper body injuries in an official post. WWE put out a warning on their official account that Raw is on high alert following the attacks by Breaker damaging the roster. With Ilya Dragunov also hurt, and Ricochet now out of action, Pearce will need to get control of the rampaging Breaker. The company said as much, saying that it was now Pearce's move. Pearce replied to this as well, with a simple message, asking everyone to tune in on Monday. It appears that he has a plan for dealing with Breaker, but what that is remains to be seen. Tune in Monday, Pearce wrote. Pearce has pulled all the stops, even going as far as to suspend Breaker, but nothing seems to be working when it comes to stopping the young star's rampage. Pearce felt that he didn't want to throw Breaker a serious challenge on Raw immediately after the draft, and thus decided to not put him in the King of the Ring tournament. It's safe to say that Breaker was not a fan of the decision and has taken every opportunity to show exactly that. Now, it's on Pearce to rectify the situation in some way, as even suspending the star didn't work. Tiffany Stratton is troubled after arriving in Scotland for Clash at the Castle 2024. Tiffany Stratton isn't on the Clash at the Castle 2024 card, but is in Scotland, as SmackDown will be emanating from Glasgow this Friday. She seems to have had a bad start to her trip and suffered a big non-wrestling setback. Tiffany Stratton hasn't been in an active WWE storyline since Backlash 2024. She participated in the Queen of the Ring tournament, but was eliminated by rival Bianca Belair. Tiffany Stratton revealed a major setback she suffered in Glasgow. One of her pieces of luggage didn't make it. In all fairness, she appeared to be in good spirits about it on her Instagram story. "One luggage down, and this is now the only fit I have, but we out here," she wrote. Her preparation for SmackDown might also have been hampered, given that she now only has one fit heading into the show. Many have compared Tiffany and another former NXT Women's Champion, Mandy Rose. It's understandable why some people think they're similar, but with all due respect to Mandy Rose, Stratton's rise has been much more prolific and rapid. Even Mandy Rose couldn't help but admire her. On the Heated Shenanigans podcast, Mandy Rose recalls being highly impressed by the young Tiffany and compared her with Charlotte Flair. When I first met Tiffany Stratton, and I first saw her match at the Performance Center in NXT, I was kind of blown away, because I had asked a lot of girls how long this girl had been wrestling for, and they were like, not long at all. She's really great. And I can tell that she has that athletic ability, kind of like Charlotte Flair, similarity of like that gymnastics background, and you could tell she's super athletic. I was really impressed with that, Rose said. It will be interesting to see what happens when Tiffany and Charlotte finally cross paths. A huge update on The Rock's recent injury. While shooting for the Smashing Machine, The Rock suffered an elbow injury. On social media, he provided a major update, revealing that the injured elbow will eventually heal. The Great One's latest WWE appearance was on the Raw after WrestleMania XL, when he confronted Cody Rhodes. During the segment, the two superstars briefly exchanged their championships, with the final boss holding the undisputed WWE Championship and the American Nightmare holding the People's Championship. Taking to Instagram, The Rock shared a graphic image of his injured elbow and stated that he had suffered a ruptured bursa sac with no extensive tissue damage. Elbow got kissed by the boo-boo monster. No extensive tissue damage. Ruptured bursa sac that will eventually heal. I've had much worse, and as always, let pain and tequila be the guide. Back to work. The Smashing Machine. Benny Safdie. Thank you all for the love and healing medicine recommendations. I'm good, wrote the former multi-time WWE champion. Cody Rhodes discussed the idea of him facing The Rock once the latter returns to WWE. While the American Nightmare isn't aware of his arch-rival's schedule, he believes the two are destined to cross paths in a singles match. During a conversation with Esquire, the reigning undisputed WWE champion suggested that the final boss will return, looking for him. Rhodes said, "I don't want to use the word trouble, but it spells something brewing in the future. I don't know with his schedule if he's ever going to come back to wrestling more permanently, but I do believe he will, and I believe he'll come looking for me, and I'll be right where he left me." Rhodes is currently feuding with AJ Styles. He will face the Phenomenal One in an I Quit match at Clash at the Castle, Scotland. Jey Uso's message courtesy of a recent post. Jey Uso took to social media to share a cryptic message, courtesy of his latest Instagram post. The 38-year-old superstar is signed to Monday Night Raw and has his sights set on qualifying for the men's Money in the Bank ladder match at the premium live event next month. Jey is a former member of the Bloodline. At Backlash France earlier this year, he unsuccessfully challenged Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship. Weeks later, he entered the King of the Ring tournament, but lost in the semi-final to the eventual winner, Gunther. Taking to Instagram today, Main Event Jey shared a cryptic animation showing a pawn taking out a queen in a game of chess. The image also had a motivational message about making the move that one was fearful of making, with no explanation or hint of what he might have meant to say. "Make that move that you are afraid of making," read the message on his post. Rikishi had suggested that once his sons Jimmy and Jey Uso are satisfied with their singles run, they could reunite as a tag team. The WWE Hall of Famer also spoke highly of Jey. Speaking on his Off the Top podcast, the Anoa'i family member stated that the younger twin has one of the hottest entrances in all of professional wrestling. He said he was very proud of his son and that he was a happy father. Jey is just on that yeet mania all over the world. To me, he is one of the hottest entrances we have seen in a long time. To be able to witness that with my own eyes, I'm a proud daddy, said Rikishi. In 2023, Jey Uso quit the Bloodline after the Usos betrayed Roman Reigns and Solo Sikoa. This led to a civil war at the Money in the Bank Premium Live event, with the Usos emerging victorious. Later that year at SummerSlam, Jimmy betrayed Jey Uso and cost him the undisputed WWE Universal Championship. This led to Jey jumping ship to Monday Night Raw and Jimmy returning to the Bloodline. Post-WrestleMania XL, Jimmy was booted out of the Bloodline, courtesy of Sikoa and new addition, Tama Tonga, and it remains to be seen how the Bloodline saga continues to unfold. A former champion vows to end the Bloodline. The new Bloodline has been trying to make an impact on WWE SmackDown after WrestleMania XL in Philadelphia. Unfortunately, they're nowhere near the original faction. Meanwhile, multi-time tag team champion Montez Ford vowed to end the group. Earlier this year, the new Bloodline went rampant on Friday Night SmackDown and made new enemies on the brand. After the two-night event in Philadelphia, the group has been feuding with the likes of Kevin Owens, Randy Orton, Montez Ford, and Angelo Dawkins. Today, the former Raw, SmackDown, and NXT Tag Team Champion spoke about the Bloodline on his Instagram stories. The 34-year-old star vowed to end Solo Sikoa's new iteration of the faction ahead of the upcoming episode of Friday Night SmackDown from Scotland. And dealing with the Bloodline. Whatever variation they birth, I'm wiping them out. Kick the Bloodline. Drop the Bloodline. End the Bloodline, Ford said. The face of the Bloodline changed drastically after WrestleMania XL, as Roman Reigns went on a hiatus from the promotion. Meanwhile, Solo Sikoa has decided to step up and take the mantle of the Tribal Chief on Friday Night SmackDown. Later, the Street Champion added Tama Tonga to the mix after he and Tonga attacked and kicked Jey Uso out of the Bloodline. At WWE Backlash France, Tonga Loa joined the fray, and the faction has become stronger than before. Paul Heyman has been against the idea of more stars joining the stable in Roman Reigns' absence from WWE. Unfortunately, Solo Sikoa forced Heyman to add Tonga to the group against his will. On SmackDown last week, the new Bloodline competed in a 6-man tag team match against Kevin Owens and the Street Profits, and won. Later, the trio attacked Owens and the Profits to close the show. It will be interesting to see which stars join the faction in the coming weeks. What are your thoughts on the new Bloodline? Roman Reigns' demise. When Roman Reigns eventually returns, he might have to prepare for a huge Bloodline civil war. The Tribal Chief will likely face insurmountable odds if Solo Sikoa and the new-look Bloodline decide to take him out in their hunger for power. However, there is an even bigger threat to Reigns that is not even in WWE yet. As per recent reports, Hikuleo could make his way to the Stamford-based promotion very soon and join the Bloodline. The Samoan faction, which is currently led by Solo Sikoa, is insanely strong at the moment, and Hikuleo's addition could make it invincible on the main roster. Roman Reigns will eventually return from his WWE hiatus and receive a massive pop from fans in attendance. If a Bloodline civil war does happen and Hikuleo has Solo's back, Reigns is bound to be in a lot of trouble. Roman Reigns is one of the most dangerous entities in modern-day WWE. He held the undisputed WWE Universal Championship for a whopping 1,316 days before losing it to Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania XL. He defeated some of the biggest names in WWE during his legendary reign. Solo Sikoa, on the other hand, went on a 39-match losing streak that lasted several months. The streak finally ended when he and Tama Tonga won a tag team match against Randy Orton and LA Knight at a house show. Hikuleo is a giant possessing an intimidating stature. To add to it, the 6'8" athlete has gained a lot of experience over the years and has wrestled some of the biggest names in wrestling. Hikuleo's stature, coupled with his 8-year NJPW experience, could be a big game changer if Roman Reigns confronts him during the potential Bloodline civil war. The WWE Universe would love to see the two men come face to face somewhere down the line. Hikuleo is the real-life brother of Tama Tonga, who is a current member of the Bloodline. The two stars share a lot of history from their stint in New Japan Pro Wrestling. If Hikuleo ends up joining the Bloodline, it is a given that he will do everything in his power to prove to Tama and Solo Sikoa that he is the real deal. If Tama and Sikoa ask him to take out Roman Reigns, the 33-year-old will go to great lengths to please his blood.